Hey, welcome back. It's the Movie Club with Friends. Back for another week. We watched The Green Mile. It is based off of a book written by Stephen King. It stars Tom Hanks, the late Michael Clark Duncan, and other famous people that I will not mention. This was a Tanner. This was a Tanner pick, so like always, we'll have Tanner start.
Okay. First off, I really enjoyed the movie. Probably give it a 9. Loved.
Ooh, love. Okay.
Really, really enjoyed it. It was really cool how, I don't know how to put it, like I guess miracles and stuff that happened. It was really interesting to see. I don't know how to put it. Just the characters and how they reacted and everything. And like, when I can't remember what's Tom Hanks' character's name.
Paul.
When he was dealing with what happened with him and like the infection and everything, and how he changed his mind and like tried to help John over the course of the movie. It was really interesting to me.
On the note of the infection, doesn't like Tom Hanks' character just make you feel like urinary tract infection, like urinary is like
UTIs.
Infections? Yeah, UTIs are just like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, no, they really do.
I've
like on the ground or whatever.
had
Holy shit.
I've had a few in my life, and never that bad.
Yeah, it's a different time. I've had pretty bad urinary tract infections in the past life. I don't think I've ever been that bad. He does say it's the worst he's ever had in his life, but holy shit, that is a bad UTI. Oh my god.
Yeah. I haven't really ever seen a Stephen King movie, actually. I don't think.
Really?
So it was really. I'm trying to remember if I have or not, but I think
Ever
that was.
seen the Langoliers?
Shawshank.
God.
No, oh, Shawshank.
You're gonna bring up that
The
movie, Jeff?
Langoliers. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Shawshank.
I have seen Shawshank. Yeah.
The Shining.
And I see a lot of similarities kind of in the storytelling between the two, and I really enjoy Shawshank, so I think that's why I also really enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Langoliers.
I can't believe you. Yeah, I really can't. That was the one. Yeah.
It's like not even a well-known movie.
It's
Jeff.
so
like I don't
terrible.
even.
But yeah, I think overall, again, 9, loved. I don't really know if I have that much to talk about in it, though.
Interesting. I think some of us feel the same way.
About like not being able to talk too much about it, or
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about it before, and people are saying they don't have much to talk about.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's not really much to talk about, right? Like, even though it's like, I think personally for me, it was a great movie. Like, I fucking loved it. It's just kind of like cut and dry in like a Messiah-esque character
There's no
with John.
There's no
not
real mystery to the movie.
exactly right. Like,
Yeah, no, someone who like I don't know, sucks in disease and throws it up. That's no mystery at all. Zero mystery.
There's some mystery
Yes.
on how we got it.
well, yeah, I guess you could say like, well, what do you like? Why do you think he was a person that could do that and all that stuff? I guess I don't know if that really gives you that much to talk about, but
I can work on that. Don't worry.
okay. So, have you read the book?
No.
Okay, I kind of want to read the book honestly and see if it goes into more of that stuff.
Yeah.
It does. It
He was a
doesn't really.
savant Exception.
It doesn't go.
No.
He was just a super healer.
This
savant.
movie is amazing compared to the book. Like if you compare the Green Mile book and the Green Mile movie, there's actually very little differences. But I'll go into that whenever it's my turn.
Why don't you just jump on in then, Julie?
Yeah, I think it's you're good to
Wow.
I'm
go.
gonna go ahead and go just because I need to get off.
Yeah, Jared needs to go sleepy night times. So
Yeah.
Alright. So, I also really like this movie. 9 out of 10. Loved. The John Coffey, I believe is his name in the movie.
He said that's like the
Garrett's-
only word he like. I swear, like
Yeah.
that's like several of his lines.
he says boss a lot.
Healer. I always took maybe he was more like an angel instead of just a human with this power. They talked about how he kind of appeared out of nowhere. It could have just been because of the depression and people moving all over the place, or maybe he really did just appear out of nowhere. If so, God's kind of a dick for making him a black man in the South. But,
Yeah, well,
he kind of got a bad shake. I kind of got a feeling that his defense attorney might have been a little bit racist. Just the way he compared him to a dog that you kept around.
Fucking
100%.
worst.
Yeah.
But,
So,
I think that was
maybe
probably
did not
the-
get the best defense.
Yeah, I think that's probably a really big point in the movie. Like, so say it was a white man that could do that, right? Like back in that time. I feel like,
He's seen as like the new Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? Because like if
And his
if-
name is
would've-
John Coffey. JC were his initials.
yeah, Jesus Christ,
have
John
mentioned
Coffey.
oh my God, John Coffey,
I just had
Jesus
a-
Christ, woo!
Epiphany.
Yeah. But continue on. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Jesus
interrupt.
Christ.
Yeah, that's good. And then
Right
really
now,
the
just hit
other thing I
Julie.
Yeah, it's
really
just
add
barely
this
hit
point
me.
is that Tom Hanks is a great actor. One of the best.
Oh
ever.
yeah, dude. Oh my God.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll hang around for a while longer, but I'm just gonna dip out at some point.
Has Tom Hanks ever been in a bad movie? Can you guys think of one movie he's been in that isn't a good movie?
Let me Google
The
Tom
Polar
Hanks movie.
Express.
I think
whoa, 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 whoa!
I think Tom
Garrett
Hanks.
needs to apologize for his heresy. This instant.
I knew that would rally you up, Jeff.
I think that Tom Hanks is a lot like Nicolas Cage in that like maybe he's been in bad movies, but he's always good in those movies.
The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons.
Yeah, those are
Probably-
terrible movies.
Those are probably
Yeah.
the worst movies.
Inferno, wasn't that pretty bad?
Yeah,
That's part of the Da Vinci
Da Vinci
Code
Code. Like I
series.
fell asleep during that crap.
That was pretty bad.
Okay, so I'll go. Me go.
Yeah, yeah. Even though I was.
Circle as well.
Well, Julie, it's my show. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a 9 and a liked. I think I could easily put this movie into my top 10, but not my top 5 favorite films of all time. It is just kind of straight up good Stephen King writing. And like I've been saying, it's straightforward because like they tell you, oh, he's a miracle. He's from heaven, or he's like the god of God, or the son of God, or whatever.
The God of
I
God.
don't know if they don't like those like they don't outright say that to you.
They don't outright say it, but if they were
That's
if
not
they but
Stephen
if
King
there was no talking about religion and God, it would be more mysterious. But because they bring up like him being an angel or whatever, well then you're just like, yeah, okay, he's an angel. Mystery solved. Right?
No.
For me,
Well,
I
What about doesn't they say something about it in the end where Paul was talking about him like being almost like eternal life or whatever, and saying it was his punishment?
yeah, he's like,
Oh yeah, because he's like 108.
Yeah, and he was like something about John being like a miracle of God.
But then
So,
why
yeah,
did
I
it
thi-
so long?
I think that's what
sure,
Mike's.
But I think
sure,
that was
sure, you
Paul's
could be
perspective.
Yeah,
on
him
it, too.
him thinking that way and whatever. Really quickly, I am a sucker for movies and stuff taking place in this time period, like the South in the Depression. I don't know why I love it. Like,
This movie is a fantastic like piece, like a time piece movie.
there's a miniseries called Carnival that is much like this movie. Talks about similar stuff, and I love it. Same time period, whatever. So my question, though, was John Coffey, did he exist before that time, or did he come out of nowhere? And was it for him, or was he put there on Earth for Tom Hanks? Like, was this something that God sent to Tom Hanks to like change his life?
Okay. You're thinking that the whole purpose of the movie is to change Paul Edgecombe's life?
It's not about John Coffey. It's about Paul witnessing this miracle.
But it's not like Paul did anything spectacular and wonderful with his life afterwards. It's not like he went out and became like a preacher or something for John Coffey.
Yeah.
He just led a normal life.
Yeah.
So I would say no, it's not to
I agree
change
with you.
Paul's life.
I don't think the purpose is to change Paul's life. I think obviously Paul is like, I mean, he's the narrator in the movie.
Yeah.
Like obviously it revolves around him because he is the main character. But I don't think the purpose is to change his life.
Okay. Well, this is just me trying to think of a question, but yeah. Like I said, I don't have much to say. I'm going to say this before anyone else. Gabe's favorite character, Mr. Jangles, and the bad cop guy, whatever the hell his name was, Percy.
Oh,
Percy?
yeah.
Wetmore?
Fucking hate him.
Yeah,
What an asshole.
That
Piece of
guy
shit.
is a phenomenal actor, though. Like,
Yeah.
he makes you hate him. So on a super side note, whenever I see this movie, I always remember one of the original X-Files episodes. I don't know if you remember it, Michael, but it's one called Tombs or something. And it's just played by the same actor, and it's one of like the first ever X-Files episodes, and he's like the first ever reoccurring like, I don't know, like villain guy.
Okay.
And he's just he's so gross. He's like the one that like, I don't know, like lived in him like his spit and vial and like all these like newspapers and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, this guy's a
Interesting.
good actor.
Yeah, no, he's definitely great. He's just, you hate him. But yeah, Julie, you may now go, Julie.
So I think I saw it. This is a fantastic movie. It is a phenomenal. I don't think I can say it's one of my favorite movies of all time, but I would say, wow, great movie. So I would give it an 8. And I loved it. I do highly recommend this film. I think this movie, so I was saying earlier, I think it's a really great period piece. And I think the reason why I'm so surprised that you guys think that it's kind of straightforward is because I think that this movie plays something that's such a political topic so well. Like it does it in a way that's kind of like very, very tasteful and kind of subtle. Because I was explaining this to Gabe, because it's not just like at the end of the movie, you're not, of course you're like really, really sad that they executed John Coffey, and you're like, no, you shouldn't execute this man. Like, he's obviously innocent. But throughout the entire film, like even with the Arlen Bitterbuck, the Native American guy, like you feel like you don't want him to die. Like he does a really good job of like, no, like you feel like if you would say sorry enough and you would repent enough, that it would be okay. And it's just like so much emotion. And then I don't even want to get into like how do you say his name? Delacroix or
Delacroix.
Delacroix.
Delacroix?
The Frenchman.
Yeah, Delacroix.
Cajun.
Yeah. So, and getting it like, oh God, like that entire scene is super, super brutal. But you like love him that whole time. Like every single character that died, other than Wild Bill, you kind of don't want to get executed. And I feel like to
Billy
me, it really makes you think about what executing someone really means. And obviously, like, I don't want to get political. I'm just saying, like, in a film though, like it does a good job of like giving you those emotions even way before the John Coffey scene. So I think that's something to notate down.
Yeah, and it really tries to show like the human side of executions.
Yeah, or
Well-
just like the human side of being a criminal. You know what I mean? And obviously, and obviously, like when Wild Bill's scene comes in, like Wild Bill is evil to the fucking core. Like he is awful, and obviously should not be alive.
One thing I forgot to say, sorry, is just how did the father of the twins not know he kidnapped and raped them? Because when they run past him, he's looking at them with like the most rapey eyes ever, and the dad looks him in the face. He's like, "Come on in here and get some food." And it's like, wouldn't you be like, "Why are you looking at my daughters like this?" Like he's looking at them.
Because people believe the best of people.
Yeah.
That's
and I-
Southern hospitality.
And I mean, like Jared mentioned it earlier, but like it's also like they're not like it maybe if they wouldn't have found John Coffey with the girls, maybe they would have gone and accused him. But at the end of the day, like I feel like there was no investigation that happened because of what they saw John Coffey do with the girls.
Yeah, and he was black, right?
yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. Like
No, exactly. No, like
Yeah.
John Coffey is like a wholesome of all wholesome people. So he is like a little bit slow, but he's
that's
just,
like that's the whole thing. He's a black man in that time period. He's slow. He's gigantic. Like
yeah, and they make him. They do like like they do such a good job of just making like this gigantic man, just like the most emotional. Like, you know, like, I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. I don't know. Like every single time he said that, I was like, I'm tired too, John Coffey. I'm tired too. I'm tired for you. Michael Clark Duncan did so good. Like this movie is so good. I do want to note a little bit of the differences between the film and the movie because there's not a whole lot of differences. Like
the film and the book.
That's what I meant to. That's what I meant to say. Film and the book. And there's not a whole lot of differences. I think like one of the so on a super side note, so actually Delacroix's death is way less graphic in the movie. Like it's actually way more horrifying in the book than it is.
well,
in
yeah.
the movie.
Crazy.
Yeah, like
yeah, because
no.
he like literally getting electrocuted to death. Like skin's burning because it's not just going through his skull; it's going through his entire body. So
Yeah.
he's lighted on fire, and yeah, it's.
Like,
yeah,
in
when he's got the blue fire coming out of his mouth and his eyes, it's just like, just someone take your gun and shoot him in the head. Like,
Yeah, and I loved how they made Percy just like watch. I'm like, no, you
stand here
watch
and
this.
Watch this.
You
did
watch this.
Yeah.
That's such an intense scene. Like I can't handle it. Like it really is just so awful because you know, like they're trying, like do it. Like what is the better thing to do? Like this movie deals so much with morals, you guys. Like you know, like what is more, what is better? Like for them to like you know have stopped it or for them to keep going? Like he's still alive. Like I don't know. Like you see them dealing with it, like just like how real people would, though. You know what I mean? Like what would you do? Would you stop the execution or would you keep going? Anyway, it's a super side note, but I just wanted to point out that Delacroix's death was less graphic in the movie. So Janet, which like Paul's wife, in the book, she like so in the book they go way more in depth about his current life as an adult, like or as an elderly man. So you're going back and forth a lot more than obviously you were in the movie The Green Mile. And in the book there is like the way Janet dies is like in like on a bus trip to their granddaughter's college graduation, and she like dies in his arms, and he yells out for John Coffey to save her, and he sees his John's ghost. It's a pretty intense scene in the book, which is I don't know, it's kind of crazy that they didn't show it. So
I don't think I think that would have just made the movie clunky because that's really just not part of the story.
I think that obviously it was part of the actual like book story, but
it works. It can work
you.
for a book, but I just don't think that scene would work in the movie.
No, I agree with you completely. But instead of that, I feel like that's why they added the top hat scene, like the movie that John Coffey sees, like as his first and last movie he ever saw. That is not at all in the book. So that's just the movie. But I thought that was a beautiful addition. So if you were gonna take like one or the other, because I love the song "I'm in Heaven," da 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 da. Like I think that I don't know, it's really emotional, and I think it gives you like that same emotion that like maybe you got from the book with that scene. with Janet and John Coffey's with Janet's death and John Coffey's ghost, but it's just like a little bit more like realistic. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a great film, you guys. I
Is
just wanted to like I have a little bit more to say because I don't know. I will say that this movie was one of the first movies I ever seen that I got to as a young child hear that that little girls could be sexually assaulted. So that was like really intense for me as like a 10-year-old watching this film.
I was gonna say, yeah, my mom didn't let me watch a lot of rated R movies because me and you were definitely too young to watch that when it came out. But for some reason, I guess maybe because it was Stephen King, my mom let me watch this movie. And yeah, I remember like when the Cajun gets killed, I was like, I am too young to be seeing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's like I think it was really intense for me as a kid because I was like, God, like they could do that to girls, like that's just like little girls, like they were like so little, so
They're
awful.
little babies. Yeah.
Yes, it was
brutal.
terrible, super brutal. Anyway, that's all.
Okay. We will hear from our friend Garrett now.
Okay. So after watching this movie, I was looking for a moral. What's the meaning of this story? And
Okay.
I don't know.
That's
The
fair.
only one I really got was this overarching theme of empathy throughout the entire movie.
Oh, uh-huh.
Because John Coffey is obviously the most empathetic person in the world. He can literally sense your emotions. So like whenever he first shook Tom Hanks' hand at the very beginning of the movie, he knew Tom Hanks was like a great guy.
Mhm.
Like a fucking 10 out of 10 all-star great guy.
Sure.
And then that's why John Coffey like decided to help him with his UTI problem. And then whenever he touched Wild Bill, he sensed like all this hatred and just like evil in him. And whenever
well, even
Did
when
he pass out after he touched him?
even
he didn't pass out. Wild Bill was like drugged by them because this is whenever they were taking him out to go heal.
yeah, he like
Ward
that was
5.
like a weird religious moment because he like woke up out of his drug coma to like grab him.
Yeah, and then he just falls back to his drug coma.
Yeah, when they were bringing him, Wild Bill into the prison, John Coffey was like, "Oh, you better be careful, be careful," and Tom
Yeah,
Hanks
that's
is like
right.
looks at him like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
Yeah, and I was just wondering how John Coffey mind controlled Percy to kill Wild Bill. I guess it was just all that saved up tumor bugs in him.
Yeah, it's like the magic of John Coffey.
Yeah.
It's some miracle stuff, you know.
Because he's Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jesus Christ. There's a famous story of Jesus Christ healing
Mind controlling
someone's leg,
someone.
and then that person stands up and walks over and crushes Judas's face. Pretty famous story.
Yeah, look it up. It's in the Bible.
Yeah.
So I took notes during this movie, and one of the things I wrote was after this is under my Paul Edgecombe thing. After UTI, pissing orgasm. He had such a great time urinating for the first time, and then whenever he had sex with his wife, I wrote
All night long.
in the morning I wrote twice in a row question mark exclamation and then I had to cross out twice and put 4 times in a row, Paul. And then one of the greatest moments that made me actually laugh pretty hard was whenever he goes to see John Coffey after he helps him and he's like, "Was your missus pleased?" And he's like, multiple times.
Yeah, John
yeah.
Coffey knew, man.
He did know.
John Coffey's a G.
Yeah, he hooked him up, man. He got him laid.
He got them.
I mean, he also grabbed his junk, but yeah, he got.
He grabbed his
Well,
bladder.
and that's why he was executed, right?
Right, you can't
Molestation
touch a
of,
white man like that.
Yikes! Edit that out.
God, I still like every time I think about it, like how bad like he did such a good job with filming that UTI. Like I was just like, oh, like
Yeah,
it just makes me like.
the one thing when you're talking about him peeing for the first time, we definitely know what Tom Hanks looks like when he's coming.
Yeah, we definitely do know now.
Yeah.
His vinegar strokes, right? That's what it's called.
Well, and now I leave.
I've
Yeah.
never heard that term before.
So to change the topic one more time. Also, the movie takes place in Louisiana for some reason, and the book takes place in Georgia. I'm really not sure why they switched it because they're both in the South.
That
But-
is weird.
I'm just
Both
trying
pretty
to change
South?
topics. Did I
Both
do
pretty
successful?
Tom Hanks has
Louisiana
a nice
is
O
more
face.
voodoo-ish than I guess Georgia would be, right? I mean, maybe that's why.
Louisiana sounds more south than Georgia to me. Just
How?
by
Wait,
sound.
what?
No, they both
because-
It just
sound like.
sounds.
I
Like
thought,
Georgia is like
Mm.
historically south.
I thought it was
Louisiana's
going to be
not.
taking place in Mississippi. I think it would have worked
That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
I think it would make
Mississippi is like
better
super
mean,
south.
being in
You guys,
Georgia
they're-
than Louisiana
Doesn't
because
matter.
They're all
Louisiana they shouldn't have been so they should have been so surprised about the French man because like Billy was like making fun of him for being French, but like you're in Louisiana, that's like the French part of America,
Is
Frenchy
it?
part.
isn't it?
I mean, yeah, technically.
It is,
I
yeah.
don't
Because you have the
know.
Cajuns.
Yeah, you're from
Yeah.
Nebraska, Jeff. Like,
Yeah.
just like don't count. I'm just kidding.
So that's what I'm saying. Georgia would have worked better, and so would have Mississippi.
I'm just saying, I don't even know why they changed it. Just like I don't know what. That's just like a random thing to change from book to movie, and like it's not like they really showed that it was. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
it's
definitely wasn't very swampy. It was more foresty.
Oh, that's weird. Anyway,
Yeah, sorry, Garrett.
It's fine. You know, cutting into my time, but whatever. But yeah, so John Coffey, he's this living empath. You know, he can sense people's feelings through touching them. So I feel like he could sense people's feelings even without touching them, kind of just like get an aura off them, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
But,
yeah, like I said, when they brought Billy the Kid in, he was like, "Oh, you better be careful." Like he knew
Yeah.
he was up to no good.
Yeah, or maybe he sensed that was the killer of the girls since he was found with the girls.
well,
and
no,
could, you know,
he didn't.
sense
He
it.
didn't realize that until he touched them, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So he kind of, I guess, sense a good and evil vibe off people. And I feel like living was just like torture for John Coffey
Well, he says
because
that, right?
of
Yeah,
this.
he literally straight up says that.
Oh,
Oh
did
yeah, I
he?
think that's like a line you just took
He
from
he,
John
he
Coffey.
hears so many like prayers
says-
or whatever that it's like glass in his head.
Oh, what was it
Yeah.
Oh,
saying?
okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, whenever I mean he
he
kind
feels
of
everyone's suffering, so he like doesn't. It would be like easier. What was it called? Not a. What's the word I'm looking for? A relief for him to die is basically what he was kind of saying.
Yeah. No,
So yeah, he was kind of looking. I feel like he was even almost looking forward to dying. I mean, he didn't want to have the hood on. Super sad moment.
So cute. He's adorable.
Do you think that makes him selfish, though? Choosing to die instead of continuing to heal and help people?
Oh.
Ah, that's a good argument.
Jeff coming in with the hard hitting questions.
I don't think so.
No, because I think
Because I mean, no one really knows he has this power anyway. So I mean, sure, you could argue it's selfish because he's not healing other people, but it's like it's not his job to heal other people. That's not.
And I think
like,
that takes away the notion of him being an angel. Because I feel like if he was an angel, he would do that and then
No.
keep sacrificing himself.
No, he definitely was some immortal angel being that has been around for a long fucking time because he's covered in all those scars and stuff, and he is so tired because he's probably been healing for so long.
well, the scars are probably more like slavery kind of thing, right?
Well, that's what I'm
Like,
saying is there were definitely some
Yeah.
form of slavery thing, but he was probably some angel born in Africa, came over, and he's been alive for X amount of years.
Okay,
I
are you
also-
like?
Steve-
And he's
Are you trolling
Steven-
or?
No, I'm
Stephen
being
King.
serious. I'm pretty.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's probably been alive for like hundreds of years, and this is why he's saying he's tired. Because if he was an angel, just appeared out of nowhere around when these girls were raped and murdered, Well, then why would he be so damn tired already? Right? He's so tired because he's been alive for so long.
He could have just had a life in like America and been tired of that too. Like it's not like.
Sure, yeah, but probably being a slave back then was probably pretty tiring.
I feel like he knew he had these powers, so he'd used them before. Like he wasn't surprised whenever he healed Paul. Like,
no, actually, yeah, I think Michael has a point. I do think that he's probably like because of the nature of the movie, and like it's taking place in the 1930s. Like I mean I do think he has, and like the fact that if you think about it, Paul Edgecombe and fucking Mr. Jangles lived for so long. Like we have to assume that John Coffey had also lived.
That's
for a
what
very
I'm
long
saying.
time.
I think he's lived for hundreds of years.
So you think he's giving away his like life force to give other people? Is that like kind of how he does it? You think? Or do you think it's just straight up him healing them? Because I
don't know. It's just.
I think it's just straight up him healing them.
It's just supernatural stuff. Like I don't know if it makes sense to.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I definitely am more in the boat of him being super old too.
Can I just say really fast, because I forgot to talk about this earlier, but the scene where John Coffey is screaming when he can't save the girls.
Oh yeah,
fucking powerful.
It's
like
so
that
sad.
Man can scream. Like you just like hear his pain. Like it's just oh my god, that's such a good scene.
He tried so hard.
He tried so hard. I can't even imagine. He's like he killed them with their love, boss. I'm like oh god.
Yeah, thanks for bringing us down, Julie.
Yeah, I'm sad now.
That's what I'm here for.
I only really have one more thing to say. I liked Brutus's character a lot. I feel like Brutus, had his own sense of like morals and just duty.
Yeah.
But he also looked up to Paul like a lot because whenever they do execute John, he leaves whenever Paul leaves, so they both leave the E block or whatever, the prison institution, and go do something else. So yeah, I really like Brutus. His character seemed pretty lawfully sided and just
dude, for the most part, like all the security, like all the prison guards are awesome, except for Percy. Obviously, the Percy stick.
But that 4-man crew.
No, yeah, like the young prison guard, the one that has like the 2 kids, Dean. Like I thought he was so good. Like he's the one who's like uncontrollably crying, like whenever John Coffey is dying.
I love that.
Yeah,
that was so
I did too.
Because I was like, that's definitely me in that situation. I'd be that one.
Yeah, but then you think like, oh man, like if they were to see him crying because they're executing, I'm doing air quotes here, child diddler and murderer.
Yeah, when he shook his hand, I was like, why are they not yelling at him?
They may not have been able to see it because he is like blocking their vision of
he had,
that.
like his hand to him and stuff. But yeah, it would have taken away from the scene, but I just expected more heckling from the audience.
I feel like the audience was pretty somber.
Also,
because
I did a quick little Google search. You say that the book takes place, or the movie takes place in 1930, like when John Coffey's alive. That's 1930.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, slavery ended in 1865.
Well, yeah, everyone knows that.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm Canadian. So if he was alive during slavery days, yes,
Okay.
he's hundreds of years old.
Well,
slavery technically ended in 65, but it didn't end in 65.
I wouldn't consider it really over in 1865.
But in 1930, I'm sure it was very terrible to be a black person living in America in 1930 still.
I mean, people
would argue it's still
Slavery's
kind of not
over?
the worst.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
Yikes.
I'm just thinking, I really think, like, with all those scars on his body and stuff, I think he probably was a slave at some point.
Potentially, he also could have just been beaten up a lot too.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll go back to, I think Michael's right on this just because of how long Mr. Jangles lived, and he's a fucking mouse. So.
I lied. I have one last thing to say about electrocution because I took a course on execution.
Mm-hmm.
And electrocution. Do you know the only 2 countries, like industrialized countries? I'm not sure if the second one's actually industrialized. The only 2 countries that still use electrocution as a form of execution? The U.S.
America and Russia.
the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of
Okay.
states in America have deemed it cruel and unusual because it is very painful. It sometimes does take more time. Like it does,
Yeah.
they would do it for like 20 seconds and they still wouldn't be dead. So it's like, oh, let's do another 20 seconds.
It's like
Oh, hey, it's still not dead. Let's do another 20 seconds.
it's like hanging.
Yeah,
If it
it's
doesn't break the neck, the person suffers a fuck ton, which
yeah.
some people will say is, I guess, worth.
I mean-
like, not worth it, but you know what I mean. Like they're like, oh well, they killed people, so they deserve to suffer, kind of thing.
Yeah,
you
but
know
the
what I mean?
punishment is death, not suffering.
I know. I'm just saying that's what some people's argument would probably be, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And that's all I got.
All right, let's hear from Jeff.
Most of my ideas were already discussed and such. I'll give the movie an 8 out of 10 and liked. It was a very great movie. Fantastic actors. They were just superb.
I think that's probably my
It's a-
favorite part of the movie. Sorry, I don't mean to cut in, but like the acting is just
Yeah,
Cutting
It's
in
so
is cutting in is
really
liked.
good.
It's
like it's just
disgusting
dude.
stuff.
I don't know. I don't know if I've had like a better movie in my opinion, acting wise.
It really like there are times where I think if their acting wasn't so good, the scene would be boring. But because they were so enthusiastic and just so good at their characters, they're so good at acting.
Yeah.
It just made I feel like from start to finish everything was interesting. I was just involved in the movie. The only thing that I had different to bring up was the part where I kind of considered it selfish of him to choose death. I didn't like that he chose to die. I would rather there be some situation to where it wasn't his choice and he was just forced to die. That way, it would have been more of a.
I was gonna actually bring this up
like-
again because I forgot you mentioned
Oh,
this,
Jesus.
but he was put in a kind of harsh situation. It's like, well, if I don't die, these guys are gonna get in trouble. I don't want to
That's
do
true.
that to them
yeah.
because
that's
he,
true.
like I said, he's already this super empathetic guy. I would say he's super selfless. So he's like, I don't want to
I don't want to be
put
a
them
bother.
in trouble.
Yeah.
I'll take the punishment. basically.
I love that moment when Tom Hanks is like, I'll get you out of here. I'll tell him you ran away, or I'll do it myself. Like that. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's pretty much it. Like I said, 8 out of 10. Liked.
Oh. Okay. I thought you had more to say. Gabriel.
So just on that last point, really quick on Jeff's about the. Well, I'll get to it actually. So I like the movie. I'll probably either give it a 7.5 or an 8. I'll probably just go for an 8 to appease Julie.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And liked. It was an overall great movie. Going into it, I did not suspect it. Granted, I didn't go. Going into the movie, I didn't know anything about the movie, but I was kind of surprised by the view that they took on it. Whenever you see the security guards for this death row area, you see it as more of as them being caretakers rather than being ruthless security guards or something like that.
Yeah, they treat them like humans, and they're very like, oh, we don't raise our voice here, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and that was like a whole perception
Yes.
throughout the whole thing.
I loved all of that so much.
Which I've never seen in any other movie when it comes to prisons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or security or anything law enforcement like that related where you're holding prisoners or something. So that was probably one of the more interesting things to me about the movie. Let's see. No, I just liked it generally. I guess you guys are talking about how John Coffey wanted to die. I think that kind of proves that he's not an angel because he's acting in a selfish way. Not wanting to. Granted, you could theorize on so many
You could
things.
say it's not selfish, technically.
How
I
would you
think
say
it
it's
would-
not selfish?
Yeah, he didn't want to live anymore because it was his pain.
Yeah,
and he
but
wanted to die.
so you could say like that reasoning is just to make Tom Hanks' character choice easier. because he doesn't want him to like think, oh, like this is my fault. I'm like this is my whatever. So he's like, no, I want to die. It's all good. Like don't worry about it, dude. Like don't.
I'm thinking it more of in the sense of he can go do more good in the world, not directly related to Tom Hanks' character, I guess.
The Jeff perspective of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But what I'm saying is like in the situation that he was in, he was trying to help as many people as he could before he died, right? Because at the end of the day, like without him, if he was to be released and go and whatever and like all that, those people would like be severely reprimanded. They'd say they let a double murder, child murder escape, and like all that shit. And they would never get a job. They would never have like a right life or anything like that. And they'd be constantly ridiculed and everything like that. And while he could do more, he would know like John's character is constantly selfless, right? So why would he do that just for him, like for himself, quote unquote?
It'd be for other people though. It wouldn't be for himself.
But he's condemning people for the greater good, but we don't know if that's for the greater good. Right? Like angels don't go out there and just everyone they see they save, right? If you look back in the Bible, there's usually like 2 or 3 people that they see, like they show themselves to and tell them like this is what needs to happen kind of thing, right? It's not like they show themselves to everyone and tell everyone what's going to happen. So I'm saying like he could be angelic. I'm not saying he isn't or is. He could be. I don't think the act of him like choosing to die was selfless or selfish. I think it was just him, and his character was like, "This is it." Like just like Jesus, basically. Because I think this is just a representation of Jesus in the South. Because I think that's kind of what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, like Jesus knew he was gonna die. Jesus knew he was gonna be betrayed, but he went through with it, right?
And Jesus could have called on God and all that stuff, and all like literally he could have done a bunch of stuff to make it so he didn't die, but he chose to die, right?
Stephen King's weird.
But that was his
Stephen King was on a lot of coke.
Langoliers.
Is it intention to what?
Jeff.
That was
his intention, though. Was to die, to save us all for our sins or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
He was tired, Gabe. He'd been healing his whole life.
I know. That's what I was saying. Anyway, regardless, there's so many ways you could think that up, and I kind of like that they didn't go into super detail on it.
In your mind canon, you like it this way.
I think if it would have been like 15% more religious, I would have hated this movie.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. It's not
like it's super. I mean,
preachy.
like that's what I'm gonna give credit to Stephen King for, because Stephen King has like I've like listened to like an NPR thing of him or Fresh Air, where he believes in God, but he's not religious. Like he really struggles with religion. And so I do think that for someone who is like who does believe in God, he does it really tastefully in his books. Like for the most part, it's like really subtle. Like he is like obviously like he writes horror books and stuff, but he does like supernatural stuff like a lot. Like he frequently has demons and angels and like weird stuff going on in
other
like, all
beings.
his books. Yeah, no, he likes that stuff. It's something that he like. Well, he says that he struggles with it all the time because he doesn't really know like which one he believes and stuff. So I don't know, it's interesting. But he has come out and said that he does like straight up believe in God. He just has a hard time with religion.
Okay, back to Gabe.
Yeah, so I guess the only thing I would have against it is that it was too long for my liking. 3 hours. It could have been a tad bit shorter, but that's all I had. That's really it. So
Yeah. Okay.
In all honesty, I could have probably done with like the old man Paul. Like I think.
Yeah, you didn't even really need to have it, but then like at the end, it's like, oh, I've.
Yeah.
You don't get that supernatural part.
When they were saying, when he was like, oh, I'm 108, I was like, that's.
I was like, I mean, that's old, but it's not like.
I was like, did I hear that wrong? Did he say 180?
108 still wouldn't be able to move that well, I don't think.
No, yeah, he looks great for 108.
He was 108.
He's definitely in a wheelchair, I'm pretty sure, if you're 108.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
I wouldn't be alive because he was pretty old at 1930.
It would be a little more mystical if he was like, I'm 180 and I'm walking around, but he's like, oh, I'm 108. It's like, yeah, okay.
Well, I think it's supposed to show that he's not. I think it's supposed to show he's not like he doesn't have immortal life. I think
Yeah.
that's what I kind of got from.
Well,
Yeah,
but
well,
no, but
well,
then,
he-
but then, you, but
Said
then,
that.
but then you're showing that with,
did it? I don't remember.
you're showing that with, Mr. Jangles dying at the end.
Oh right.
You're
I
then,
forgot
you're
about
showing that they can die.
Yeah.
'Cause
Whoa,
Mr.
he
he's-
did not die.
Yeah, that was
Mr.
the
Jangles
end
didn't
of
die.
Mr. Jangles.
He was still breathing.
Still
Yeah,
moving
he was
around.
breathing.
Oh,
just
come
sleeping.
on! At the end, that's the end of the movie. Is
He was just sleeping,
is
Mike.
showing that Mr.
He
Mr.
died.
Jangles' journey is
No,
over.
he was just sleeping.
What did that? Come on!
Blah, 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 blah.
Is that what your
Uh,
mom
his
told you
heart
about
was
your
still
first
beating.
pet?
His heart was still beating.
He went away to
was
summer
just
camp,
sleeping.
Johnny. No, he's dead. All right.
Anyway,
Your pets are dead. Your loved ones are going to die.
Jesus Christ.
No, but Gabe, my question though, who is your favorite character?
I'd say hands down,
Yeah.
Jangles.
Yes. Knew it. Yes. Yes.
Oh my god.
Okay, so our professional closer. I'm so happy and ready to hear what you have to say, Jonathan,
Oh shit.
to hype you up more.
Okay. I am. Wow.
Wow
You
me.
guys all
Bring
you
me
guys-
your beautiful insight.
Time to see a whole new perspective.
Blow
No.
our minds.
No. It actually really amazed me that all of you practically gave this movie either an 8 or a 9. I'm gonna give it a 7. Like
Oh.
that's as top as I'll go. Like I probably would have gone 6, but you guys have given me a little bit more insight for it. I don't know. The one thing that I had issues with, which was it's nitpicky because there was already a bunch of issues in the movie that people had, but goddamn, all 4 of those good guards had perfect lives. Every single one of them were married, or except for that older one. All of them had children, healthy children, no problems at home. Oh, you had an UTI, good for you. Your wife is like loving and caring, and at least like respects you still, and like wants to have sex with you and all that kind of stuff.
But that, sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
that just shows that like, yeah, they have great lives, and that's how important John Coffey was to them that they would give it up for him.
I think they just didn't have developed characters, and they were just his support crew.
Or that.
They were just his 3 dudes that were also good guys.
No,
Against
I
Percy.
I think I agree with Michael here. Like,
I
'cause
feel
at
like
one
it's-
point they all say they're like,
That's a
no,
little too deep to kind of like get from, I feel.
I feel like it's because they're all just wholesome, great people. That
Yeah.
being a wholesome, great person attracts similar people to you. So you're
And I-
gonna have nice.
Yeah. No, I like that because
It's
then
also the type of work I do.
it reflects in their work ethics too. You know, they're all really nice to the people that are on death row too. Like it makes sense that they all have those kind of lifestyles, and two, like them pretty much saying that they'd give up their entire life and careers and all that stuff to help John Coffey is practically like what the followers for Jesus do at the very end. You know, the Last Supper. I mean, they all are pretty much
Yeah.
just followers of this supernatural person that just fell into their laps. So it makes sense, but it just kind of it seemed like it just flowed along a little too naturally for me.
I would say
Yeah.
also part of it is they had like too many problems that went into it. It might even run into 3.5 hours, and people would say like, well, why was that? So I do see what you mean, but it is a long movie in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite character was Percy because it drew in a lot more interest into the
what
movie.
is wrong with you, Johnny?
What are you, the asshole
love it.
jock of the
John,
group?
John has a good point, though.
No,
no.
yeah, I'm just
Like,
kidding.
What would this movie have except for just a feel good movie if it wasn't for him?
Feel good
no.
movie. Man's eyes bursting into flames.
Well, no, it only happened because of Percy.
Yeah,
though.
I
Because
know,
of Percy.
I know.
Everything was because of that shithead.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, there would be no traditional movie villain if it wasn't for Percy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he just brought in so much more drama to it and just intrigue for me to at least stay intrigued into this movie. So
I would like to see a movie, I think, like this, but without a Percy, where there really isn't no villain, but the Tom Hanks character, you know, at the end of the day, he has to execute this person he doesn't want to. And that's the drama, right? I think it could be interesting and could
It'd be much
work
more boring,
if it
though.
didn't have a villain. Well, you just have to work more on the emotional parts of it.
yeah, I think of him as kind of like that infection in the body. How like Paul is trying to be diplomatic, and however he chooses to run his jail cell, and then Percy comes in and is trying to disrupt that. And while Paul has that UTI, he like kind of is getting a little bit more down on himself, and it seems like it's getting harder for him. While then when John Coffey comes in, he heals him, and so then it kind of reflects, and it really brings him back to life. And so
yes, Johnny coming in, yes, coming through. Yeah, that's fucking amazing. Yeah, like he gets it back. He's back to loving his job and his life because of John Coffey, and that's when he starts really fighting back against Percy. This, as you said it, infection.
yeah.
It was pretty intense that like Percy just like turned like into what he turned into, essentially like a shell of a person.
A potato.
I feel like that's like I feel like that's worse than death sometimes. Like that's just like the worst.
Yeah, I really didn't appreciate that John Coffey like practically forced him to kill the other guy, and then made him like a mental, like put him in the mental hospital because like
he got that big. He got transferred, right? That was the hospital he wanted to get transferred to.
He did get transferred, but I don't know. That to me reflects that like if you believe in God, like it's the type of God that's gonna be like hateful as well, or like retribution, vengeful. Yeah.
Well, Christian.
So,
that is Christian and God, right? Very.
Yeah.
Very Old Testament.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair. Jesus said he didn't come to bring peace. He came to bring strife and division. So, just saying.
Wow, you divided the earth pretty damn well there, Jesus.
God, I like seriously don't know like enough about this. Like I thought, like, are you being like, is that what he said he was gonna do?
Jesus? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Like legit.
Oh, I guess he really did what he went out to do, right? Like, how many wars and deaths have been over Christianity?
This fiction. Oh, okay. You're talking about like. I was like.
No, we're getting into podcast territory.
All right.
Well, Johnny, you gave me the confidence. I was scared because nobody else is going lower. I'm doing 7.5 for you.
Oh yeah. So 7 liked.
John grabbed Gabe and he put his hand on Gabe's dick and he glowed. And Gabe's like 7.5.
Stop.
All right. So does anyone have any ending things they want to say or any more points?
Nope.
All right. Next week is Garrett. Garrett's rotation.
Yes, finally, I get to grace you with my choice.
Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat.
Yes.
That's gonna make Gabe so happy.
I don't want to watch that movie again.
That acid trip.
Johnny, I think you do though, right?
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
Awful. Anyway, my movie is Lady Bird. Let me look it up real fast here just to give you some background information and
The dog?
stall while I'm just talking, waiting for things to load. It's
He wasn't right.
2017 movie?
Yeah, it was made in 2017.
Oh,
It's
Another
based on a
release.
book that I think the director wrote it. Yeah, director and writer Greta Gerwig. It's kind of based on her life.
Not a lot of
And,
people you know named Greta.
there aren't. No, there aren't. It's kind of based on her life, and she wrote a book, kind of a dramatization of her life. That's how I would put
Sounds
it.
like she's
I feel like-
obsessed with herself.
I feel like Jeff's gonna love this movie because there's a teenage daughter in it, so it's gonna be a coming of age
And
movie.
she got short hair.
It is definitely a coming of age movie. But the thing I like about it is that the main character, like, it's not special. Like, anyone could have had this life. It's not special. It's just showing this.
So it's hashtag relatable.
It is relatable. It's just showing the life
down
of
to
like
earth.
any kind of modern American family could have.
Okay. Interesting. It's on Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No
I
way.
watched it on Amazon Prime.
It is not on Netflix.
Okay, it's on Canadian Netflix.
So use a
Canadian
VPN.
Netflix sponsor us.
Use a VPN, get Canadian Netflix, and watch it. Unless you have Amazon Prime, and then you can watch it there.
Yep, Americans, please watch it on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, please sponsor us.
Yeah, come on. We need some sponsors, man. We need to make some money, man. I got my kids out here, man. They're not eating.
Chloe, just browsing the depths of YouTube. The entire video.
Hey.
Oh, you know what?
One of our subscribers is
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos. Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. All right, so comment, rate, subscribe, share it. Put it around Facebook, Twitters, whatever you want to use. Get us out there, get our name out there. If you like the content, pimp us out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and also, and please watch Lady Bird with us.
Yes.
For next week.
We'll see you next time. Say bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye.